What's up everyone? So today's video are gonna be 8 really sick tips and tricks, and by saying that I really mean it. Like, these tricks are actually pretty advanced and you probably don't know them already. Also, I hope you enjoyed the little poutine intro. As you can see, actually over 85% of you guys are not subscribed, so it would help me out a lot if you subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the content. And now I hope you guys enjoy the video. That's a really useful trick where you can see through the Brimstone ult. If Brimstone ults, you can actually see the enemies moving around behind the ult on the map. I don't know if this is intended, but it's definitely a very useful trick to know. Whenever Brimstone ults, what I like to do is I basically just look through the ults and see if I spot anything on the map and just roughly spray in the direction, you know? So imagine he ults, I see him on the map, and I just spray through. And yeah, this tip is really useful to know, and you can easily apply it to your own games, just to get the info the enemies are probably not getting. And yeah, off to the next tip. If the spike is planted, you can actually tell the difference with the diffuse sounds. So the normal diffuse sound sounds something like this. And if the spike is half diffused, the sound will be slightly higher. So just gotta be aware of that. If the enemy is diffusing and you hear the higher sound, it only takes him 3.5 seconds, so you gotta peek really fast to stop him from diffusing. There's a really insane trick with Phoenix's flash. So if you break line of sight whilst the flash is moving, you actually don't get flashed when the flash pops. It looks something like this. I'll show you again. And it's actually quite insane. You gotta perfect it though. It is really hard to get the timing right, but once you get it down, it's a pretty insane trick, because you can basically peek and not get flashed while the enemies get flashed by the same flashbang. And just a really important trick to know if you're maining Phoenix. And yeah, once more. Wait. Like that. Pretty crazy. Another really useful trick to know when playing Phoenix is that you can dodge damage by simply ulting. So for example, if you know you're gonna be ulted by an race, you can start your ult in time before and survive the rocket blast, or it also works for a Brimstone ult. And just a really helpful trick to know. The next trick is related to Sage's heal, and it's actually 2 tricks, not 1. So if you're playing Sage, you can actually hear people getting healed. So not only do you hear when you start the heal, but also during the heal being used. And also what you have to watch at when you're playing Sage is if you get hit and you immediately start healing, the heal will not heal in the first like 1 or 2 seconds, meaning you waste some of your heal usage if you don't wait like 2 seconds before starting the heal. Because there's always a delay that you can get healed again after being shot. And to avoid that happening and not being full HP after you heal, simply wait a little bit for that delay to not be happening, and you'll be good. There's another trick that you can use post-plant situations. So if the spike is planted and the enemy has some Brimstone and you know he's kind of good and knows like lineups and shit, you can actually block the molly if you see it coming by simply body blocking it. And this can kind of save your ass, because this molly would have normally landed right into this corner, and that way you can kind of save your team and start the defuse when Brimstone thinks it's a molly and he can just like play for time and shit. So yeah, another really nice trick to know. This is a really useful trick when playing Sova and ulting. So let's say for example the enemies are on A long and you start ulting. You ult twice and the third shot you can actually use it to boost on top of double crates like these. It's a really useful trick to know when you don't know what to do with your third shot and you're like next to one of these double crates. And yeah, I like to do it even when I'm playing Sova. I start ulting like next to a crate and I shoot twice. And then I jump up, aim down and get on top of the crate. It's pretty situational, but once you get it down and practice it a bit, it's actually quite easy to do. And in clutch situations, it can definitely catch the enemy off guard. That's another really nice trick to know. If you're playing Cypher, that's a really useful way to use the Cyber Cage. So what you're gonna be aware of is that the Cyber Cage goes up and down when you activate it. So if you throw it on a high place like here, for example, and you activate it, you can actually drop down very safely, like this, and easily get like below heaven without anyone noticing. All they could hear is like you jump, but I don't know, it's a really nice trick to know. Just that it goes both ways and you can use it for that and maybe even get some teammates with you. And yeah, just also be aware of that. It's probably possible in more spaces than here. Yeah, you guys just play around with it if you want. There's an absolutely insane one-way smoke with Brimstone, which you can do on Haven C long. All you gotta do is you gotta place your smoke right here. So, like this. Right here in front of the plateau, not on the plateau. And if you place it correctly, you will have a crazy one-way through this. You can see long basically, and it's kind of glitched as you can see. So you're inside the smoke, and the enemy, all the enemy will see, the enemy will basically just see the smoke. So it's definitely not expected. They think you like smoked it off or something, and what they will see is basically just this. So they can't see your head. They can see the tip of your head, but yeah, nothing more. It's orange, kind of similar to the brown smoke, and they will definitely not notice you right away, and you will get an easy first kill on them. And also be aware of that if the enemies have a Brimstone and he might know about this trick. It's a really crazy one way. You can see how it's bugged, so yeah. Probably gonna get fixed soon, but for the time being, be aware of it, maybe use it. Your decision. A really common wall that is being used by sages when attacking A side on Ascent is this wall up here. And when this wall is being placed, you might think that it's only to block off heaven and to let people retaking not get through. But this wall is actually much more advanced and you can abuse it heavily. If you peek under here, you can see the feet of the enemies. And it's actually quite insane, because the enemies will definitely not be thinking that you can shoot them if they see this from their side. And the way that it works, it's because the wall is slightly higher on this little wooden plank than on the normal one. As you can see, it goes up a little bit. So if the sage places it, you can actually shoot under there into the feet. Pretty insane trick, and you definitely have to be aware of it when you're retaking the site from here. You see this wall and you gotta be careful. What I like to do is I simply destroy it as quickly as possible and make sure no one's standing there and aiming at my feet.